Do you feel that in a time when we are more connected than ever, we are drifting away from real human connections, especially to ourselves? I do. Hi, I'm Leticia Latino, and I want to invite you to join me and my very inspiring guests in exploring ways to reconnect to your essence, to your definite purpose, to what makes you tick. Are you ready? Well, hello, and I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving considering the situation we all find each other in. If you notice, if you're following of the show, you probably were thinking, are we going to have a new show on Thursday, which was Thanksgiving or not? And you know what? I debated if I was going to release a new episode. I usually try to, but I had decided to take a week off from work, and me and my family went camping, which was a magical experience. We rented an RV and we went to Ginny Springs, Florida, which for anybody out there that is in the area and haven't visited, it's really very, very nice. And what else can you do with two small kids when one of them is turning 10? My son turned 10 last Sunday. And when you don't want to be around people and you want to try to isolate as much as possible. Me and my husband thought that camping and renting an RV was a good solution. And I actually have to say that we enjoyed so much, really so much. But going back about publishing or not on Thursday, I say, well, it would be kind of hypocritical for me to push people to go back to basics and then be stressed out about publishing or not publishing. So I say, you know what? I'll do it when I feel I have the time, when I'm relaxed and de-stressed. And so here I am. It's Monday, November 29th, and I'm taping and releasing the episode right away. So this one has no delays whatsoever. And, I just want to share with you some of my 2020 Thanksgiving thoughts. It's definitely has not been an easy year. I think we all have been put to the test in ways we never imagined. And this sounds a little bit cliche, but in this case, it's true because, I mean, nobody in recent times had to deal with a pandemic. So this was really brand new experience for the entire world. And it puts us in a different frame of mind, I believe. And it really brought many bad things, and it's still bringing many bad things. As I record this, we broke another record in terms of cases, in case of deaths, in case of hospitalizations in the U.S. And so to think that back in March, if we would have to predict where we would be basically in December, I don't think many of us would have said, we were going to be with more cases in a worse situation. I thought we were still going to be dealing with it, but definitely I would have thought that we would have controlled the cases at some point, even if a second wave came, that that we had a break. But unfortunately, we have not had a break, and the cases, bit by bit, have really mounted to numbers that are astonishing to me. And for me, what has been really hard, and I've said this before, but I'm not a U.S. citizen. I've been a legal resident for many years, so I don't get into politics and all that. But the whole mask thing has been something that has affected me personally, because to me it's so clean cut. You wear a mask and you protect yourself and you protect others. It's as simple as that. There shouldn't be a second thought. There shouldn't be hesitation with that. We should all have done this happily, because if that means we're saving lives, if that means we're protecting our families, there shouldn't be hesitation. So even when I went on my beautiful Thanksgiving trip and see tons of people around with no masks and commingling and just being together, you wonder, is my sacrifice worthwhile? My sister lives in the same street that we live. And just because we took that little trip, where we tried to isolate as much as possible, but we did go on a road trip, and they didn't, of course, we would represent an exposure to them. So we spent Thanksgiving apart. We spent Thanksgiving in my home, the four of us. That's it. You make sacrifices. You do what's best for others. So just the thought that so many people don't see this, it's a little scary to me as human beings, as where the world is going. If we cannot make a small sacrifice of wearing a mask until we have this under control, then I mean, we are not in the best of shape as human race. But in any case, so that's my first thought in terms of masks and things that have kind of surprised and to be honest, frustrated me during these months. Then, of course, I have the thought for all the families that have lost family members, people they love, friends. It's so many. I have a friend of mine that says, "How do you know so many people that have had COVID?" I don't know. I don't know if I know a lot of people or I have a lot of friends, but we know a lot of people that have had COVID and that have struggled. People that have been in intensive care. Thank God, directly we know, just a few, and they were elderly, but that did pass from COVID. So this is very real for us, and I understand for some people maybe they don't know anybody, although at this point it's hard to believe you don't know anybody that has had it, but that the people are so far removed from what's really going on. It's very scary. So I've had to deal a little bit with that kind of survival's guilt. And you see so many people going through so many very, very challenging times, losing their dads and their moms and their spouses. And it brings me down to the main concept for me of this Thanksgiving. We always say, I'm thankful for health. I think that the premises of Thanksgiving have taken true meaning in what we always wish. I personally always give thanks for health, family, and friends. But it has become one of those where you say it almost automatically. You don't grasp what it really means. And I think 2020 has given us the grasping of that. When you said this year, I'm thankful for health, it really takes a new meaning because so many people have died from COVID. So many people have died from other things just because they couldn't get to the hospital because they were afraid of COVID. And then there's your normal health scares, right? And I myself had a health scare, non-COVID related, a couple of weeks ago. They found a skin cancer in my back, and it's one of those that you can remove and hopefully um, dig deep and remove everything. So here it is. I'm sharing that with you. And yeah, for a while it was very scary, and I'll share with you that how I dealt with it in the weeks where I got a bad biopsy and I was waiting to get the procedure done. I was just trying to cope with it in the best possible way and just thank for health, thanks for the moment, stay in the present, not to think too much about what could be and the what if and what this could mean. And, just trusting that I had a great doctor and that it's something that, is treatable for the most part. And then health takes a new meaning. That wish of, I'm thankful for health. Wow, it really hit home for me in that sense where that appreciation for things you're being grateful for just redefine. I keep a gratitude journal, which I think is a great practice. And sometimes I feel bad because I write the same things, and health is always there, and friends and family is always there. And I want to be creative as to what else can I be grateful for. And I come up, of course, with many other things, but it boils down that if you don't have health, then the rest really, it's unimportant at the end of the day. It's unimportant because if you don't get the chance to live life, um, nothing else matters. And then, of course, you go to family and friends. and people that are around you, and people, even for, I have a few friends that are single, and this has been very, very challenging for them. And I completely get it because I lived alone for many years. And I imagine, I think of people that don't have, anybody at home with them. This can get very challenging. And that's, I think, when the fact that, we have technology and we can connect with others. And if you have friends and you have family, even if it's not a spouse or kids, but if you have brothers and sisters and cousins that you're close to, the whole experience takes on a new meaning. And so it boils down to connection and human connection and feeling connected. And we don't have to be in the same house to feel that connection. And that's something I'm grateful for, because during these times I become closer to family I have in Italy. I have a dear aunt. She's in her 80s and she lost her husband. My uncle passed away, not through COVID, but as a result of not being able to go to the hospital back in March in Sicily. And she's alone at home. Her kids live in a different part of Italy, and so all I do is every time I have a chance, I FaceTime with her, which she didn't know how to do. She started to learn not too long ago, and she told me the other day, she thanked me almost with tears in her eyes, that the gift of that iPad that we gave her a few years back, we brought it from the US to Italy, because there is a, of course they have these things, but they're not as used as on this side of the world. And that she said that I opened a window to her life, because now she's home, she cannot go anywhere. But the fact that she sees pictures, and I'm a big Facebook poster, I post a lot of pictures. We don't have our family with us. This is sometimes something that people maybe miss. It's not so much as to share what you're doing, it's so much as to share with the people you love. And the fact that she gets to see my kids. And then when I talk to her, we talk about what we did and what we do. And again, that connection, I think it's something that I've cherished so much during this Thanksgiving. Reaching out to the people we know are having a challenging time, people that maybe don't have family around them, but they have it far away. Just reach out to someone that you feel might be lonely, because it's going to make a big difference. And as we are heading through the holiday season, for especially the families that used to get together, it's my family used to get together for Christmas. My parents would come to the US, and now it's been since last Christmas, since last time we saw each other. We usually get to see each other 4 or 5 times a year. This year, because of what's going on, haven't seen my parents, and that's something that has been very heavy on my heart. My dad is 86, my mom is 78. So um, at these ages, it's like every year, it's an important year. It's a year you want to live to the fullest. It's a year you want to be together. But then I think, is it worth the risk to bring them here for Christmas just because you have that immediate need to be with them? Or do I let go of what I want and my short term gratification of being together, and play it safer and say it's better that they stay where they are, and they try to keep riding this wave in the best way possible, rather than risk getting on a plane, going to a different country, and then they get here and it's not like we can have the holiday we always have. It's going to be different anyway. So I think also that what this Thanksgiving has brought, it's an acceptance, at least for me, that things are not going to be the way I want them to be. But then you think in the higher scheme of things, and all I want is health. That health that we were talking about, that health for me and that health for those I love. And of course, a health for the entire world. But you kind of get concerned about the people that are close to you, right? And you want to keep them safe. So when we put that into perspective, and when I acknowledge the fact that that aspect is the most important one, the aspect of health, then I accept. I accept I'm not going to see my parents, who knows until when. And then, I just pray they can keep healthy and that we get a chance to see each other again. And so, with that thought, that's one thing that has been, kind of a drag her down for me. I try to be cheery and optimistic. But yeah, spending Thanksgiving without the family, now spending the holidays without the family, without seeing them for so long, it's very difficult. And my husband is from the Netherlands, so this applies the same way for my mother-in-law, who usually would be here already for the holidays. So our kids don't get to see any of the grandparents, and it's just it's just a situation that I know a lot of people out there are living just the same as we are. That you want to see your loved ones, and we can't. So we have to make the most out of it, and that's why we go camping. And so how we have chosen to deal with this is, rather than think about the experiences that are traditions, the one that we normally have, and be sad about it, we decided to create new traditions, things that cannot remember something we miss, and that will remind us of a time that, although has been very challenging, it has been special nevertheless. And I never spent so much time with my family, my husband and my two kids, like now. We feel so close to them. We are navigating through this together. We're bonding, we're making new experiences. And so that has helped to create those new experiences, like the camping experience, like making a song experience. I mean, we've done plenty of things that we usually don't do, that had just made us stronger, and that has helped us to not to think about what we don't have, but have helped us to focus on what we have, and that is health and each other, and the ability through technology to feel close to those that are far away from us. And just, don't let your mind drag you down. There's plenty of reasons why to be sad, why to be upset. I know a lot of people have lost loved ones without being able to be close to them. And maybe through for COVID, and maybe not because of COVID, but people with parents in other countries that have passed away. And that breaks my heart, because these are moments where all you want to be is close to your family, and you can't. And, it's unfortunate that some of us have had to go through these very, very difficult experiences. But I'm a firm believer that God brings into a life, into our lives, only the experiences He knows we can deal with. So if you are there and you're going through a very difficult experience, I think that God is giving you a test for you to step up to the next level of your own self development, of your own journey. And it's not easy, but I think that's the way it is. When you're ready for evolution, for spiritual growth, that's when those tests show up. And if you're going through something like that, I really believe that it's because God knows you can tackle it, that you can raise above whatever the situation you have in your life. But you have to be aware of how to deal with the particular situation in a way that gives you the better chance to come ahead of the situation. And I'll just give you an example. When 2 weeks ago, when my doctor saw this mole, and she had seen it before and she didn't like it, and she said, I'm going to have to take it out. And the first reaction was I got the biopsy was people, my inner circle, of course, they want to know what's wrong, and they want to know the details. And you know what? I did not ask. I just knew what the doctor said we needed to do. I knew, of course, the general concept that, there's some cells in this mold that are, dangerous, and we need to remove it. And that's it. And I could have chosen to learn more. I could have chosen to get the medical report at that point, and go online and see all this stuff that I knew for a fact was only going to scare me. And so I knew, because of how I am, that if I trust my doctor and I know that they're going to do this, the right thing, and if definitely something treatable, something they're going to do this, it's at the same time, it's a bad thing, but it's a thing that it's common and it happens. And a lot of people have these kind of procedures done. So, the way I decided to try to put it in the back of my mind, it was very hard for 2 weeks, especially seeing my small children. And, and you start thinking about crazy stuff, and you do. And you start thinking of what if I'm not here? What if I'm not? But that, at least in my case, takes me to a place where I don't want to go, to be honest. So, how I chose is to just trust in God, because I'm a person of faith, and I do believe in Jesus and the Virgin Mary, and in God, in God, in a higher force, someone else that is putting me through this test. And it's easy to think, well, you are doing so much on your spiritual journey, spending so many hours hearing about it, and now I'm gonna test you, and I'm gonna see if you're really getting this. And obviously, you always feel you fail the test, because when you're faced with it, all these fears, my God, that come into your mind. But I embrace that mindfulness practice that I've shared with you, I've been doing, and there's one for fear. And I did a lot of that and tried to navigate through that. It was emotionally tough, I have to admit. But we got what we needed to get done. And hopefully, as I move forward in time, and the checkups and all that, it's all good. But my point here is saying, if you're a certain way, if you're extremely, you get nervous when you read stuff that might or might not apply to you, or might, the internet, it's such a powerful tool, but it's also full of information that you read and you don't even know if it applies to you. So when we do this to us, and we go out there and research and talk about this person, this happened, and that other person, the other thing happened, you are you, and your experience is yours, is no one else's. And when you decide to embrace other people's experiences as your own, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. You control how you live and how you react to your own experience. You control the way you want to tackle it. And for me, I know once I get that overload of information, and people talking to me about it, and people asking me questions, and I know I feel like I lose control of my reaction, because now all these negative thoughts are start bombarding me, and I don't know how to regain my sanity. So, um, having said that, I had the procedure, and then the next day I went camping with my stitches on, which I still have even now. But I tried to make the most out of it. And in that process, every single moment of that trip, I savor it and enjoy it in a way that's completely different. And going back to COVID also, because of that. Because I know we're living in a time where many families don't get to go anywhere, don't get to see their kids playing, don't get to do the things I was doing. And so, I'm grateful and thankful. And, I think we all have to embrace what you're grateful for and thankful for. And just let's keep moving, and let's keep positive thinking that the darkest times are passing, and that there's light, and that next year will be a year of joy, will be a year of reunions, will be a year of doing all these things that we wanted to do this year that we couldn't. And this bad experience will be in the past, and we'll, of course, always remember those that we lost and those that we love. So I hope that you've had a peaceful Thanksgiving, and one that has allowed you also to embrace and reconnect with yourself. On a different note, I hope you enjoy my last episode of Back to Basic with Tammy Simon, episode 80. That was a big milestone for this show and for Back to Basics, and I hope you enjoyed it. I was a little bit nervous, I have to say, as I'm a big fan of Tammy, and Sounds True, and all the amazing work she does. So I'm still a little bit starstruck about having had her on the show. And I want to share also some big news for you. As you might guess, I tape the shows a little bit ahead of time, and have, the lineup of what's coming. And as you enter into the 80, well, we are on the 81st episode now. It was 2 years ago when I started doing my podcasting course, and I did my course. I think it was a month and a half or 2 month course for with Alex Di Palma and Seth Godin, and it was such an amazing experience. And I just after that, after 2 months of just testing and trying and doing that, I embarked on this journey without knowing where it was going to take me. And now it's 80 episodes later. I'm still excited about it. I'm still getting butterflies about my podcast, especially because of the amazing people I'm getting to talk to. I feel this is part of my own spiritual development and spiritual journey, and getting to meet people. And then when some of you reach out to me either by email or you call me or through the Facebook page, and you tell me that a particular episode resonated with you and it made an impact of some sorts in your life, that is to me the biggest um, achievement I could have hoped for this podcast. So thank you so much for those of you that listen to it. I sometimes get surprised when people reach out, to be honest, and it's the best feeling. So feel free to leave me messages on the Facebook page, on Instagram. I read them all. I'm very excited. But so the big news is, imagine, for my episode 100, I want to have, someone that's meaningful in terms of my own journey. And it's not easy. It's not easy. As you know, this is not a podcast that gets publicity or that I monetize in any shape or form. And to get high profile thought leaders. I don't want to get celebrities. I don't mind if I get some celebrities that have good back to basic story. To me, that's the main rationale for any guest is that you share your back to basic story. And I'm honestly convinced we all have one. We all have a back to basic story to tell. And that's why I'm always excited about all my guests, famous and non famous. Now that I have to say that um, some high profile people have come on the show, it's definitely a little easier to get the attention of other high profile people because it almost validates. And this is a little kind of even trick I'll give you, is that once you start raising the bar and trying and being blunter and more courageous, because trust me, it takes courage to write to one of these people like Tammy Simon or other people have written to, and you get rejected all the time, so you never expect them to say yes. And that's why Tammy's episode was so meaningful to me. And episode 100, I reach out to the one and only and the greatest. And it's been such an amazing influence for me that I'm still like, I cannot believe he said yes. But Seth Godin will be my episode 100. And we haven't taped it yet, so take it with a grain of salt. These things change all the time. But the point is just the fact that he said yes. I started my journey with one of his courses. I started my commitment towards doing generous work, as he says, do work that can make a change, where you are not expecting anything else in return, but you just putting it out there. And in his own words, he would say, here, I made this. And this is what this podcast is for me. When I tell you, here, I made this. And I'm trying to find the most inspirational guests so that they also, in our conversation, maybe plant that seed in you, because you have important work that you want to do. You have a dream that you want to pursue. You have something that can change the world, and you haven't done it because maybe you allowed yourself, like everybody else, like I did at the beginning, to give you good convincing reasons why it's not a good idea to invest your time there. But I assure you, if you commit to it and you do that little work day by day, like this podcast has been there for the past 2 years, episode after episode. Sometimes I've struggled with whom to interview. And now I can say that someone like Seth Godin said yes to being on the show. And you've heard the likes of other guests that we had, and every guest, every single one of them, famous or not famous, have brought something to the table, have opened their hearts to us. They've been very generous themselves by opening up their stories to the rest of the world. So it's a two-way street. If you want to make the work, but there has to be someone else there to empower you and enable you to do the work. And you as the audience are also a component of that. Because if you didn't listen to this, then then the work, would be there, but no one, it wouldn't make a difference. And the fact that it's making a difference, even in one of you at a time, it's already um, the most fulfilling thing. So, in any case, watch out for that episode. I'm super excited. Reach out to me if you or you know someone or you have a great back to basic story you want to share. I'm big on that. I want to hear from you. Reach out at Latino at yahoo.com or through our Instagram or Facebook. And, I'm thankful for you. As a closing thought for this Thanksgiving, in a year that's been very, very challenging, I'm thankful that you're listening in. I'm thankful that we're on this journey together. I'm thankful that we are saying no to the status quo and we want to move forward. Um, there's so much to discover, so much to learn, so much to share, that just to know there's people out there that want to do just the same makes me feel great, makes me feel that I'm not alone on the journey. And so, with that, I send you all a big, big, big hug. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep trying to make a change. And let's hope for a new year that brings a lot of joy and a lot of hugs and kisses and reunions and wine gatherings. I do miss doing chin chin with my friends while sipping a good glass of wine or prosecco or something like that. I love you all. Thank you so much. And until the next episode of Back to Basics.